Yeah, Waterloo. Okay. Okay, council, I'm gonna call this meeting to order, our regular council meeting for May 19th. As always, I will now call the clerk to do roll call, please.
Mayor Klopp,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Becker,
Present.
Councillor Sangster,
Present.
Councillor Groove,
Present.
Councillor Harris,
Present.
Councillor Hessel,
Present.
Councillor Lamport,
Present.
Councillor Walden,
Present.
and Councillor Whetstone.
Present. Okay, we have quorum, agenda disclosure of pecuniary interest of any. Councillor Group.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I have a pecuniary interest in 10.2 due to relationship with the landowner
And that's in our in-camera session.
in the in-camera session.
Okay, when we have that, you'll have, do you know the process you'll be leaving? Okay, thank you. Any other person, any other at this time? And again, if something comes up, just get a hold of our clerk. Approval of agenda. Now we'd ask for some friendly amendment, I hope, and I'll turn to the clerk and she'll explain that.
Through you, your worship, we do have representatives from KPMG in attendance this evening virtually. We've been asked to move item 10.4 up to a little bit earlier in the meeting, and I'm proposing that it immediately follow the delegation this evening.
So the amendment would be 10.4 of our in-camera would go in after 4.1. Is that okay? Councillor Walden, Councillor Harris, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, so we're gonna do all of in camera at that point?
No, just 10.4, which is what the
Thank you.
motion is. Is there any other amendments people want to add or anything? Okay, the motion is has been presented as amended. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We now move into delegations and here in Shores Transit here for their annual report. Susan, welcome. And we do have a fairly long meeting. We're gonna try to keep it in the 10. My counselor said, Chair, it's a 10 minutes, so please help me out. Thank you.
I will. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So as you know, public transit plays an important role connecting residents to employment and services and community amenities. So tonight I will provide an update on the HSAT transit system, including funding, system changes, access improvements, ridership and performance, and overall financial results. And we'll finish with key next steps. Jody, next screen, please. Oh, that's the annual report, not the presentation. You didn't get the presentation? Okay. I have it on USB. Is that okay? I'll tell you what, why don't I continue? And okay. So after all the council resolutions and support we received last year, we waited with bated breath to hear about the Ontario Transit Investment Fund and to confirm how much funding will be forthcoming from the Ontario gas tax for public transit. So happily, 4.7 million over 5 years to 2030 has been confirmed. Despite all the uncertainty, the federal government's reduction of international students, the economy, and the fact that we were not able to market the transit system for 8 months due to lack of budget, we still managed to achieve 21,028 boardings in 2025. And our fare box recovery ratio of 14.7% is similar to other Ontario small rural systems. There we go, key takeaways. Now you've got the pretty picture to go with what I just said. Next slide, please, Jody. HSAT's multi-stream revenue for the next 5 years then is comprised of a projected 1.4 million of fare revenue, a projected 106,000 of advertising sales revenue, of which we do have plans to significantly increase that figure, 969,000 of Ontario Transit Investment Fund, 969,000 of Transit Partner financial contribution, and an estimated $1.3 million of gas tax for public transit funding. HSAT's revenues, combined with the Transit Partner financial contributions, our collective population base and ridership, all contribute to the qualification for the gas tax funding. HSAT is affordable because the Transit Partners favored an integrated multi-partner approach. And for the 2025-2026 year, we received $124,000 of gas tax funding. And by year 3, we expect that to be approximately $300,000 a year. Next slide, please. So North Middlesex withdrew from the transit program, and as a result, we discontinued Route 4 on May 31st. Lucan Biddulph chose not to join the partnership, and so their service to Lucan also ended at the same time. Plimpton, Wyoming joined us as a transit partner, enabling Route 1 to be extended to Wyoming. And these service changes required adjustments to schedules, obviously, and other information. And we distributed a new brochure during the summer and fall. In fact, we did a massive mail drop to all households in each of the transit partner jurisdictions. Next slide, please. In July, we finally received the funding agreement from the Federal Rural Transit Solutions Fund for the purchase of bus stop infrastructure that is going to help with our advertising revenue and customer service. 2 new bus stops were added, one in Wyoming and one in Brucefield. And after on-site inspections and discussions with public works staff from Bluewater, South Huron, and Lambton Shores, several bus stop locations were adjusted to accommodate the coming advertising-enabled bus shelters, benches, and bike corrals. So not all bus stops needed to be adjusted, but a number of them did, including Zurich, Hensel, Exeter, Huron Park, Grand Band, Port Franks, Thetford, and Forest. The decision to add the Brucefield stop was based on the potential for increased ridership from communities within a short drive or bike ride, such as Clinton and Van Aster. In order to make this happen, we had to reduce the Bayfield stops from 2 to 1 at Clan-Gregor Square. Overall ridership for 2025 was, as I mentioned, 21,028 boardings, which is an overall system decrease of 17.8% compared to 2024, and this was driven primarily by external factors. Route 1, which runs between Sarnia and Grand Band, remains the busiest route despite a 26% drop on that route relative to 2024, due entirely to the reduction of international students. And it didn't help that 3 months of unrecorded boardings by Voyago on the express bus. Route 2, which runs between London and Grand Band, remains steady, while Route 3, which runs between Grand Band and Goderich via Bluewater, saw a slight increase in boardings. The Route 2 bus, express bus, which we nicknamed the Beach Bus, ridership increased again for the 3rd year in a row. Due to operational changes made by Voyago, our contract provider, the number of stranded passengers due to broken down buses was reduced. As well, they were able to provide a seasonal express bus on Route 1 much earlier in the spring, beginning in mid-May. And combined, these actions managed to provide us with substantial service cost savings, dropping our taxi service bill from $50,000 a year to $4,900. Average monthly ridership is 1,752 boardings, and boardings per hour is a respectable 3.7. if Route 3 is not included. Typical small rural systems range between 4 to 6 boardings per hour for a mature system. So at this point, HSAT has not yet attained its 35,000 annual boardings predicted by the transit consultant as being our sustainability threshold. So in other words, we're still building the system, but we have already obtained a mid-range boardings per hour of an established system. Work done for the OTIF grant application included a fair review of other small rural systems in the Southwest Community Transit Group. In comparison, HSAT's fares were on par, but the monthly pass remained underpriced. New fares were implemented in August, with a local trip now costing $6, long distance $12, and the regional fare $20. So a regional trip is a travel from Goderich to either Sarnia or London. Also, as part of the OTIF application, we needed to indicate how we would address economic inequality. So also in August, we implemented several new discounts, including CNIB cardholder, income-related, and seniors and veterans. This means CNIB cardholders can travel for free. Those with proven low income status can receive a 95% fare discount, and seniors and veterans get a 20% discount. These special discounts are managed through our smart card system, and passengers interested in the low income and seniors veterans discounts must live within the jurisdiction of a transit partner to qualify. There's also an additional application process. So in September 2023, we applied for and were successful in receiving a Federal Rural Transit Solutions Fund for $299,000. The plan is to use this money to install bus stop shelters with advertising panels, add benches and bike corrals, increasing customer service, and our ability to generate advertising revenue. However, the combination of a 2-year delay between the application and the signed funding agreement, inflation and product pricing increases have reduced the funding's buying power. As a result, we have been forced to reduce the number of bus stops being upgraded from 23 to 13. However, we have recently registered with Metrolinx's procurement program. So we've joined in with a number of other transit agencies across Ontario through that procurement program to hopefully reduce costs for individual items. The RFQ for the transit infrastructure should be approved within the next couple of weeks, and then the RFQ posted on their procurement website, otherwise known as MERX, mid to late June. Next slide, please. So relatively, fare revenue increased in 2025 despite lower ridership, and this is directly related to the fare increases that were taken, especially the fare increase on the monthly pass price, which still affects our overall per trip revenue. However, HSAT's financial performance remains strong, and this is expected to grow as our ridership grows. Next slide. So here's a little rundown. As a recipient of the gas tax funding, we are now required to report our results to the Canadian Urban Transit Association, otherwise known as CUTA, and they use province-wide standardized formulas for determining fare recovery ratios, subsidy levels, and the average cost and fare per ride. As a result, previous year's calculations shared with HSAT's transit partners, including Blue Water, have been recalculated and are included in Appendix B of the annual report. The big news is that HSAT's performance indicators are all within the expected normal range for a small rural transit system. So our average cost to provide a ride is $44. Our average fare now per ride has increased to $6.50. So we are on the right track in that regard. And final slide. Moving forward, with the long-term funding confirmed through to 2030, the focus will be on improving service delivery, completing the infrastructure upgrades, and strengthening financial sustainability. Completion of bus stop infrastructure and advertising sales revenue go hand in hand. We will negotiate a new contract with Voyago that will carry through to 2030, and that will also include new buses. Ours are getting pretty ancient for public transit buses. The 8-month absence of marketing activity from October 24 to May 25 due to lack of money means we need to make up for lost ground. Our marketing focus is hyperlocal, and we use print, web, social media, and outreach activities. The largest project will be the proposed transition of Blue Waters Route 3 from fixed route to on-demand. So a business case is close to completion and will be presented to all transit partners for review, especially this council because it affects Blue Water residents more than any other of the residents in the system. And consideration and selection of, say, a preferred option or options that would then be presented to local residents leading into implementation. The goal is to complete this work in 2026 and to build Blue Water's ridership numbers into the thousands. The on-demand project aims to increase transit frequency and coverage while maintaining the current budget. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Susan. Questions, councillors, comments, anything at this time? I think everyone has been watching this. We appreciate your diligence of working with this. It's a little frustrating when a couple communities have decided to back out, but that's the decisions of those councils. I must say that the price of fuel probably is a two-edged sword. And it's always to me a little bit of a drag, but surely there'll be people that will want to be seen and weighing out this with their whether it be their siblings or whatever. So I think it's still the right decision that we made. We have a vibrant area here, and we really do appreciate that you're working with us.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention on the on-demand, if I've got a couple minutes there, I will come back to this council and we will need a longer meeting because obviously we will need to go through the details in more fine tune. But we are proposing that we would hire 2 to 3 local drivers and use their vehicles. In a sense, HSAP becomes our own Uber. And we would pay those drivers of a wage plus mileage reimbursement. And we would provide a first mile, last mile service to get residents to essentially what is 2 hubs. Through the investigation evaluation I've done, Blue Water residents are either traveling to Grand Band to catch one of those 2 routes, or they're going to Goderich for, I would say, shopping and diagnostic services. We're not traveling between our villages and towns. So, Hensel residents aren't going to Zurich, Zurich's not going to Bayfield. We're going outside of our communities, probably for a specific function. With that in mind, and wanting to maintain our budgets, the idea would be to move from what I think has restricted Blue Water's ridership, which has only been like 3 afternoons service per week, to something that would be daily, and that would enable residents to book ahead and get picked up and taken to either, say, they're going to Goderich or they're going to Grand Band because they want to catch Route 1 or Route 2. And there's a lot of work into that and a lot of analysis, and that will be checked by Dillon Consultants before we bring it to you for a presentation and selection of what you feel is most appropriate for residents.
Thank you for that heads up, councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly and foremostly, apologize for the interruption. Most of us in here aren't here in the 1962, 1963. I lived in Clinton. There was buses all the time at every village. And this is amazing. Thank you for bringing it back. We really need this in Canada and this area. So I appreciate your efforts and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion to receive this for information. Counselor Hessel. Counselor Groot. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
And
Good
we
night.
look forward to, you know how to reach the clerk to set up meetings.
Yes.
Or any of the other staff as it pertains. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you too.
Okay, council, as agenda has been changed, we're gonna now ask to move into in camera to deal with 10.4 on our in camera issues. Counselor Hessel, seconded by Counselor Whitstone. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And to those in the gallery, there is I think you've been told there is a spot in the back here if it's raining. Yeah, thank you, Dave. We'll go as quick as we can. Okay, counselors, we're back. And there is nothing to report, I believe.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. We now move back to our regular agenda, 5.1 or 5 rather, consent agenda, and it goes from 5.1 through to 5.10. Is there anything anybody wishes to bring up for discussion? Or motions? Okay, I thought I had one that was. No, I guess it's okay too. All right, then I need a mover and a second to receive for information. Counselor Walden, seconded by Deputy Mayor. All those in favor of the consent agenda as printed? Any opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence for action, 6.1, Bayfield Garage. Chief Herb, can you fill us in a little bit more of this? We had a letter, we obviously read it, but what do you think we should do?
Yeah, through your worship, I was approached by the Bayfield Garage and then shortly after that, another garage. Just implementing the amount of tires that they're continually having to store when they're paying $5 a tire to get rid of them. I think in the letter, I did reach out to a bunch of other places today, just around our municipality, talking to see what they're doing with their tires. Most of them are in the same boat. South Huron Dump is no longer receiving tires, and technically by the act, if you you have to receive them. Anybody can bring you 10 tires, and you have to take them if you're a depot. I believe we closed what in 2017. 2019, we quit taking tires.
Yeah, I think it was like, through you, your worship, it was actually predated that, I believe it was actually around 2014 that we stopped taking them actually. And I think we got our last tires that from the collection that we had back there. I think the last load that went out in 2019.
Okay,
So through you, your worship, just the fire hazard, the health hazard with ticks, or sorry, with West Nile. I said I could bring it to council and whether they would be inclined in doing a delegation or to the Ministry of Environment.
and the clerk working behind the scenes has a couple thoughts. How about we hear those and then council can debate it?
Okay, through you, your worship, the two motions that were prepared. The first one is direction for council to direct staff to submit a delegation request to the AMO conference to meet with the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks regarding the backlog of tires being stored at collection facilities awaiting pickup by producers, or similarly, a letter to the ministry for the same reason, for the backlog of tires being stored at collection facilities. We have time. The delegation deadline is Thursday, I believe, if there's still a desire for an AMO delegation.
Councillor Groot?
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Is this not an issue at the county too? What would the county be doing?
Well, I think it'll end up there for discussion at some point, but you know, let's keep the ball moving here. It's all politics is local. So I really do think we need to at least get a letter off to the minister and our local member of parliament and get this on the radar a bit. But go ahead, and then Councillor. So go, no, you're first.
So I'm suggesting we do both.
Okay,
I'll second.
right?
That's what I was gonna do.
Well, I said the least, so no problem. All right, it's been moved and seconded. We'll do delegation and send a letter to the specific local member and to the minister.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, comment, this is not a small issue. This is critical. Like one fire could be devastating to any community, any place. So, yeah, we really need to stay with this.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. We will push this along. We'll use these letters and the information to the specific ministers, local member of parliament, and a delegation. It's been moved and seconded. No further discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next is the Bayfield Agricultural Society request for a fence across Christie Street. Do you have any comments at this time on this? as a director?
Yeah, thank you. Through you, your worship, we received a letter from the Bayfield Agricultural Society. They have fenced most of the property. The only remaining area would be our road allowance on Christie Street. In our joint use and occupancy agreement with them, it does state that any changes to the other party's land, requires the others approval and has to be done at your own expense. So we don't really have any other means to approve or deny this. So that's why it's before council. Dave, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, so through you, your worship, there was obviously staff conversation relative to this, and my only suggestion would be that, to the conversation would be that if it was council's wishes to do something that a gate actually be installed as well, so that way access could still be maintained through that location as well.
Okay, and again, our clerk was busy and has a couple options or three.
Through you, your worship, suggested motions would be to accept the correspondence for information only, request a report back, or direct, the council direct the Bayfield Agricultural Society to work with the manager of public works and facilities on the installation of the fencing.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, what's your thoughts?
I think that's a great,
Which motion?
Number three, to work with the Ag Society, with our staff, and it's for the safety of the public. That's what they're looking for, why they want the fence up. If some animal ever got loose, it can be contained. That's what it's all about, safety.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that they direct the Ag Society to work with our staff to put up this fence. Okay, is it clear on the motion? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving along, we're at Development Services. And we've been talking about, we're going to the arts side of us now. And there's a recommendation here, but again, I will turn to Maggie if there's any follow-up. Or sorry, Aaron, I apologize.
That's no worries. So good evening, council. This is just a follow-up report after council recommended to have a selection committee created and Bayfield Center of the Arts created a committee as per the policy, and the results are included with this report. There was further, BCA did a survey as well and surveyed the community. They are in agreement with all the terms and conditions within this agreement. And I just want to remind council that it is shorter than the cenotaph. And if there's any questions.
Okay, is there anyone to make the recommendation and then we'll have discussion? The recommendation is bylaw 47, Councillor Harris, Councillor Whetstone, seconds. Further discussion? Okay, then I think it has gone through a good process of public, as you pointed out, touched a lot of bases. And I see the dollar amount, I think it did increased a little bit. And that's, we thank them for that recognition. So it's been moved and seconded. Okay, I'm going to call the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Public Works, Aqua Operation Change Order. You can see the recommendation. You've read the background, but so Dave, is there anything you need to add?
Nothing that needs to be added. I believe the report kind of summarizes it. The only thing that I would make mention is the pricing is consistent with or in line with the current contract pricing that we have through to the end of 2026.
Okay, Councillor
I'll move the recommendation.
and Councillor Lamport seconds the recommendation. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, any opposed, motion carries. Tender award for supply of culvert and footings for Bridge B62. There's a recommendation here. You've read the report. The financials have come in very, almost had to read it twice. I couldn't believe the good news. And I guess that's a credit to our staff and then getting the job out there and also making it very easy for them to tender. So is there a mover? Councillor Groot, second by Councillor Walden, that we accept the Armtec rather? Okay, Sorry.
And that's just to your comment. Thank you to staff for being so efficient. But also thank you to staff and Dave for the municipality has started doing a lot of our own work. So this is almost like a supply, right? And then we're doing a majority of the work to save the municipality money. I believe, Dave, it was B52. I can't remember which one, but when we first started to get into doing the work ourselves and it's really paid off. And thank you for that.
Okay, I'm gonna call the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Tender award for a single axle cab and chassis. Counselor Walden, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion? Again, noted, it's come a little bit under our budget, so that's a good sign, I guess. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dave. Facilities, operation of the Bayfield Blue Water Marina, RFP award. Her report is here. Do you have anything to add at this time?
Sure, thank you. Through you, Your Worship. So the current operator of the marina is retiring at the end of this year. And so back in March, the Facilities Department issued an RFP for the operation of the Bayfield Marina. And we also established a evaluation committee to assist with the evaluation of the proposals. And that committee has made a recommendation to council, which is at the top of this report. And we also have a recommendation that council direct staff to proceed with negotiating the marina operating agreement with this candidate. And we would bring that back to council for approval prior to the new term starting January 1st, 2027.
Okay, Counselor Walden moves, seconded by Counselor Whetstone. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. For the record, I think the Jim is here. Thank you for taking the time to come out this evening and your partner. Okay. All right, we're now looking at Canada Post lease extension. And this is, can I say this is somewhat of a housekeeping, but it's been, is there a mover? Counselor Hessel, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Down the recommendation bylaw 48-2026, but is there any questions? Counselor Whetstone, go ahead.
There is a comment under the financial impact. Although the agreement does bring an annual increase, monthly rent remains below market value for commercial space. Is there any appetite to try to squeeze more?
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. So
Okay, all right, hold it. We've asked the question here. Let's keep moving.
So no, there's no further appetite to increase rent. The last time we renewed a lease agreement with them, we did, it was a 2.5-year process negotiating with them, and we did increase it about 150%. And we did have, they had someone appraise the property. We also reached out to local realtors, and we were very comfortable with the, the rent that was established. And moving forward, they're applying a 2% a year increase, which is a risk, I guess, if the value of the market increases faster than what's established here. But then it also creates, it's more simplistic, and also there's more certainty with us in knowing what we can expect year after year. And it is a fair increase at the time. So it's a just over 20 by 20 space. It has no plumbing. There's no washrooms or anything like that. It's just for community mailboxes. So it's also hard to establish what the commercial, there's no comparables, I guess, to really establish what it would be worth commercially because of those restrictions. Yeah.
So the question why I ask that is that, as you know, there's mailboxes all over Bayfield now, like that you go to, not just downtown. Would we be better off? We might get something, whether we try to rent it, if they weren't there, would it be better from a store perspective? Would it be better from an economic development perspective? And because then I can't see them staying there long term to start with. If they're going to keep paying rent, they're going to look at how can we manage it ourselves, which is going to be more of these boxes that are around town, I believe is what's going to happen at some point in time. So I'm just trying to think better utilization of the space. because it is a wash, there are washrooms there, there is the library there. What else could we be doing with it to provide to the community?
Do you have a quick answer?
Not to answer tonight.
Oh, okay. Deputy Mayor?
Why we agreed to increase the rent a few years ago, to bring people downtown. We've already provided the washrooms. This is kind of a post office is a hub to bring people together. And that's why I know it's not a whole lot of rent, but it's a small space. They still people come downtown and they use it.
The same people come downtown. It's not new people because it's only to come to get their mailbox and then they
Well,
leave.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Deputy Mayor Becker was quicker than me. And I think he saw what I wrote down. But one of our previous mayors, Bill Dawson, said that having a post office in a village that represented is a huge deal. It brings a whole lot of people in, way more than what we might envision. So I would support Deputy Mayor's comments.
Well, we have go ahead, sir.
And I understand 30 years ago, that's true. When there was a service provided at the post office, you don't walk in and you see anybody. You go just like everybody else does across the road and open your box and you turn it. So there is no, I agree at one point in time, both yes, I 100% agree. Times have changed. It's a waste of space.
Well, I guess right now we have an opportunity of some income. It's been increased. And if the federal government does close it, then we'll find out what we'll need. But right now, a bird in the hand to me is worth two in the bush. And that's where I'll stick with if we're talking old sayings here. And I'm going to support this. The government will decide, as they've closed many post offices, to your point, and when they decide, they close them. There's definitely going to be some changes. We may find out sooner than later if we can do anything with that. But right now, this isn't, this is the game in town, but I'll find out. Here's the motion. Those in favor of the motion. Those opposed. The motion carries. Good discussion. We always need to talk about this stuff. So, carry on here, 7.4, election signs bylaw. This is, I don't think there's a whole lot of discussion. This is the rules. Councillor Hessel moves the bylaw.
Second.
By Councillor Sangster, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Councillors' announcements. Any announcements? Don't forget it's coming up to firemen's breakfast seasons coming down the pipe. Hensel's coming up fairly, I think, number 1 on the docket. Look on the websites to get it right. But also anything else at this time? Okay, great. We'll move on. There was no new business presented at our agenda when we approved the agenda. So we're back to 10, only this time we have 10.1, 10.2 and 10.3 to discuss. Thank our audience tonight. It's nice to see people in the gallery. I mean that. I just felt so bad that right off the bat, we asked you to go outside and check the weather. But again, please come back. We will, I don't know how long we're going to be, but that is the last thing on the agenda, so you could decide. Okay, a motion to move in, Councillor Hessel, seconded by Councillor Groot, move into in camera at 7:45, I believe.
Say something, I'll tell you that working with Maggie on the RFP for the marina has been fantastic. Easy to work with, easy to deal with, and I thank you all for your. Well, we see you there.
Abby, good to see you. Dave, thanks for coming. Okay, well, 2 minutes. Council, we're back in session again. We've risen from in camera. Is there anything to come out of in camera?
Yes, the council directed the manager of finance to prepare the bylaw to enter into a lease agreement as presented for the farmland located at 39868 Rogerville Road, Hensel.
Moved by Councillor Essel, second by Councillor Harris. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now at confirmatory bylaw. Bylaw 50-2026. Mover, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Walden. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Councillor Lamport and Councillor Hessel. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council, staff, and those that took the time to come out this evening to the gallery and those on Zoom. Have a good weekend. Take care.